I think the Ukrainians have claimed there have been 700 violations at least. 63 assaults they reported overnight along the front line. Rather odd for Russia to claim a ceasefire, and then breach it so flagrantly. I think the idea was to show willing, as the commentator you quoted from the UK mentioned, to show willing to be cooperative towards President Trump's peace efforts, or to get a ceasefire, but really hasn't backed it up with anything very serious.
So the reason for the move, you think, is that it's more to maintain interest in peace talks with the US than being a gesture of goodwill towards Ukrainians?
Oh, definitely not a gesture of goodwill. No, it's definitely not a gesture of goodwill. I mean, what they have done is apparently cease the aerial attacks on Ukrainian cities and civilians, which have apparently killed about 900 or more, killed and wounded, 900 or more civilians this year already. In fact, one of the heavier periods of the war in terms of aerial bombardment like that. So they have stopped that. But I think it's partly to make a gesture towards the Trump administration, who they think is being more congenial towards Russian aims in the war and negotiations than the Biden administration was, and perhaps also to avoid some embarrassment during the Victory Day celebrations on today, where they've got a number of important foreign visitors, including Xi Jinping from China. So that would be not that the Ukrainians would be particularly likely to attack these events directly, but possibly something in the vicinity of Moscow which might cause some embarrassment.
Yeah. So Ukraine wants a ceasefire of 30 days put in place. What are the chances of that, Jon? Where do peace negotiations stand right now?
Well, there's really no sign that Russia wants to move away from its ultimate goals of getting maximum territory in Ukraine and removing Ukraine's support from Western countries, particularly the United States. It's possible, if they stop making incremental gains on the ground, and that's all they are, very incremental at high cost, but it's possible that they will, if they feel a dead end there, that they may settle for some kind of agreement on a longer-term ceasefire. The US has proposed various ideas, and yesterday, I believe, one of their chief negotiators, General Kellogg, suggested that Ukraine is prepared to look at a ceasefire with a 30-kilometre buffer zone, that is 15 kilometres on each side, monitored by international peacekeepers. But President Putin and Russia have been very concerned to say that there should be no NATO countries involved in any peacekeeping, but they also have these preconditions about Ukraine promising not to join NATO, and they would obviously like to have recognition of some of their territorial gains in Ukraine and to remove sanctions. So it's not really clear that Russia is willing to back down from any of these just yet. In that case, ceasefires seem rather unlikely.
And what's the latest? Apologies for interrupting there. What is the latest in ground won and lost in the conflict, Jon? Well,
to sum it up, the bottom line is that Russia's been making some incremental gains, particularly in the east of Ukraine, but at great losses. The UK Defence Ministry says that the Russians have lost about 160,000 casualties already in the first 4 months of this year, bringing their total since the beginning of the war over 3 years ago to nearly 1 million deaths, wounded, and missing in action. So there have been some gains, but but not really a lot since 3 years ago. So it's a very static front in many ways. Ukraine is finding it difficult to repel Russian attacks, but with little little material support or dwindling material support from some countries, but the Europeans in particular are trying to step that up. And Ukraine has also been very successful in some tactics using drones on the front lines to make it very costly for Russia to make any territorial gains.
Jon Richardson from ANU's Centre of European Studies, thank you very much.
Thanks, Ros.